Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to dive deeper into the world of Python programming by exploring conditional statements, loops, functions, modules and packages. But before we start episode 3, I highly recommend you to watch episode 1 and 2 so that you will have a solid foundation in Python programming and will provide basic understanding of the concepts which we will be discussing in this video. I hope you have already watched them. So without wasting time, let's get started with conditional statements. Conditional statements allows a program to make decisions and execute different sections of code based on a specific condition. In this video, we will learn if statement, else statement, elif statement and nested if statements. First, if statement. An if statement is used to execute a block of code only if the specified condition is true. Otherwise, the code will not get executed. Coming to the if statement syntax, it starts with the if keyword followed by a condition which can be a logical expression that evaluates either true or false, and at the end of the if statement a colon is placed. In the next line you need to indent the code block. Here indentation means giving spaces. Generally it is 4 spaces or a tab space. If the indentation is incorrect, it results in an indentation error. Next, you need to write the code which is executed only if the given condition is true. Coming to this example, here age is assigned with 18 and in the if statement, the condition is if the age is greater than or equals to 18, then the code should print you are an adult. As the given condition is true, it prints you are an adult. If we consider the age is 16, then this condition fails. As we discussed in the if statement, the block of code will be executed only if the if condition is true. Here the condition fails, so it will not run the program which is under the if block. It is a limitation for this if statement as it can only evaluate a single condition at a time. If you have multiple conditions, then you cannot use this if statement. To overcome this, we can use if else statements or ELIF statement. Moving to if else statement, the if else statement allows you to execute one block of code if the condition is true and another is false. Coming to if else statement syntax, the first if block is same as the above we discussed. As for the else part, which is an alternative action, if this if condition fails, you use else keyword followed by colon. Then you need to indent the code to avoid indentation error. Coming to this example, we defined age as 16 and the if condition is age is greater than or equals to 18. As here the age is 16, this if condition fails. So whatever the block of code which is present under the else block will be executed. As for this example, you are a minor will be printed. Before going to ELIF statement, you need to understand that the control flow in if statements will be sequential. Means first the if block will be executed, then only the else part will execute. This is same for ELIF statement also. It won't directly enter the else block without executing this if statement. Here sequentially means in order. Next up, ELIF statement. The ELIF statement allows you to check multiple conditions in a sequence, and this ELIF is the short form for else if. It is used after an initial if statement and before an optional else statement. The syntax for this starts with if followed by a condition and colon. After this, an indented block of code to execute if the condition is true. If the initial condition is false, then the ELIF keyword allows for another condition to be checked. ELIF followed by condition colon and again indented block of code to execute if this new condition is true. This process can continue with as many ELIF statements as possible. There is no limitation that you can use only this many ELIF statements. You can use n number of ELIF statements in the if block. Finally, an optional else keyword followed by colon can be used to handle any condition that were not meant to be true in the above, providing a default action. This is how ELIF statement syntax works. Coming to this example, here marks are defined 75. Entering the if statement, here the condition is marks is greater than or equals to 90. As this condition fails, we enter into ELIF statement. Here marks is greater than or equal to 70. As this condition is satisfied, it will print grade B as the output. And one more important thing you need to remember when dealing with if else and ELIF statement is, once a condition is met, the corresponding block of code only is executed. In this case, grade B is printed and no further conditions are checked. Means this else block will not get executed. I think this should clarify the working of if else and ELIF statements. Now let's delve into nested ifs. Nested if statements are if statements that are placed within the body of another if statement. This allows you to create complex decision making structures where multiple conditions can be evaluated and different actions can be taken based on their outcomes. Coming to the syntax, it is same as we have said in the definition. An if statement is placed inside another if statement. You can place n number of if statements inside another if statement, but with the increase of each nested if statement, it will impact its readability and performance. Coming to this example, here age is defined 20. If age is greater than or equals to 20, here the condition is true, so the control flow will enter in this if block. Again, this condition is checked whether age is less than 21. Here the condition is also true, so the code block which is present in the if statement will be executed. That is, you are an adult but not old enough to drink. In other cases, if the outer if loop condition is false, then the control flow will not enter this if block and the output will be empty on the output screen. And if you had provided any else statement for this if block, then that block of code which is under the else block, that will be executed. By this we end conditional statement. Next we are going to cover for loop. A for loop is a control flow statement used in programming to execute a block of code repeatedly for a specified number of times. This simplifies the repetitive tasks and makes code more efficient. Moving to its syntax, it starts with a for keyword followed by a temporary variable that takes on the value of each element in the iterable during each iteration. This variable can be named anything you like. Next, in keyword that specifies the sequence you want to iterate over. Finally, the sequence, which is the collection of items you are looping through, such as list, tuple, string, or range. At the end, colon. In the next line, the code should be indented that runs for each item in the sequence. Otherwise, it raises an indentation error. Turning to this example, where we need to print from 1 to 3, the for loop begins with the for keyword followed by the I variable that will be used to represent each element during the iteration. Next, in keyword along with this range function. The range function generates a sequence of numbers which we can use during the loop. This is the starting value and the ending value which is excluded from the range. Means if you take from range of 1 to 20, this will print from 1 to 19 only. The number which we give here will be excluded, means n minus 1. As for this example also, as we need to print from 1 to 3, we give the ending range to be 4 so that it can print from 1 to 3. In the next line, we indent this code. The execution for this code will be as follows. First, the loop starts with the first number in the range, in this case 1. Print this number and goes for another iteration. On each iteration, variable is set to the next number in the range, that is 2 for the next loop. It enters the for loop and it prints number 2. This loop continues until it goes through all numbers in the specified range. Then it will stop iterating. In place of this range, you can directly use list, tuple and also string. Now in place of this list, you can place for number in num. After executing this, the output will be this. By mastering this for loop, you will be able to tackle various DSA problems and excel in programming interviews. If you want to learn DSA for free, you can go through this channel playlist where you can find videos on various topics on data structure and algorithms. Next, we will learn about while loop. While loops are control flow statements that executes a block of code repeatedly as long as the specified condition remains true. They provide flexibility in programming, allowing you to create dynamic and iteratable process. The syntax for this while loop starts with while keyword followed by a condition and colon. In the next line, the code should be indented to avoid indentation error. Coming to this example, we defined count as 3. Entering the while loop, the condition is until and unless count is greater than 0, it should print the count value. Enter the while loop and the condition is met as the count is greater than 0. So we print while loop and the count value is 3. In the next line, we decremented the count by 1. So the count value will be decreased from 3 to 2 and it again goes back to while. Now the condition 2 is greater than 0. So it again enters the loop and prints while loop colon count. In the next, the count is 2. This loop will continue to execute until this condition is true. If the condition becomes false, that is, if the count value is 1 and it printed the while loop 1, in the next line the count will be decremented to 0 and the control flow will be returned to while. Here the condition will become false because 0 is greater than 0. The condition is false, so this while loop will be terminated. This is how execution goes in while loops. In while loop, we should be cautious of infinity loops. If the condition never fails, then this loop will continue to iterate infinitely. To break this, we use control statements. Next up, we will learn about control statements. Python provides loop control statements to alter the flow of loops. They are break, continue. Break statement stops the loop immediately and exits the loop permanently. As we can see in this example, if I is equals to 3, then this break statement will execute. After printing 0, 1 and 2, as this condition is met, this break will stops the loop immediately and exit the loop. So we cannot see the break example 3 and 4 to be printed in the console. Moving to continue, the continue statement skips the current loop iteration and moves to the next one. From this example, we can see if I is equals to 3, then this continue condition will be met and it will skip that loop and it will move to the next loop. As we can see in the execution, it has print 0, 1, 2 and skipped 3 because of this continue statement. Then we continue the loop and print the 4. The difference between this break and continue is it will break the loop immediately and exit the loop. From this example, we can see it only printed up to 2. It break the flow where 3 and 4 should be printed. Coming to this continue loop, it skipped the number 3 as the condition is met. This is the difference between continue and break. I have already made a video on functions and why use them, and also a video on iteration versus recursion. In this video, I am not going to explain these topics as I have already made a video on them. Make sure to check the playlist of Basic Python in English. Now let's continue the video with Lambda function. Lambda function, often referred to as small anonymous functions that can have any number of arguments but only one expression. It is often used for quick short tasks where you don't need to define a full function. Are a concise way to define functions in Python. Lambda syntax is as follows. You can create a lambda function using the lambda word followed by arguments and an expression. These arguments can be a comma separated list or a single value. Coming to this example, square equals to lambda. In place of arguments, we are providing x, and in the place of expression, we are providing x asterisk x. In the next line, we are printing lambda example square, that is square of 5, where 5 is the argument. When this lambda function is called, the arguments are passed into the expression which is evaluated and returned. As for this example, 5 is multiplied by 5, so the result will be 25. In this lambda function, there is no need for using return statement as the result of this expression is automatically returned. While using normal functions, there is a need for using these return statements. Lambda functions are designed for short and one-line expressions. For complex expressions, you need to use normal functions. Lambda functions are also used as temporary functions within other functions or expressions. Next, we are going to learn about modules. A module is a file containing Python code related to functions, variables, or classes that you can use in other programs. Python comes with a standard rich library that provides a vast collection of modules for various tasks. Examples of these modules are math, OS, random, etc. Beyond the standard libraries, there are a thriving ecosystem of third-party modules available through different platforms, offering solutions for specific domains like machine learning, web development, scientific computing, and more. You can create a module by saving a Python file with .py extension. This file name will be the module name. In that module, you can write your functions, classes, and variables. In another Python file, you can use import statement to import that module. By this way, you can import and create your own module. The syntax for importing module is import keyword followed by module name. In this example, we are importing math library, and using this we are finding the square root of 16. The output will be 4, which is a float. In the next example, if you only need certain elements from the module, you can import them directly by using from keyword followed by the module name, import followed by function name or class name. In this example, we are specifically importing pi from math module. In the next line, we are printing the pi value, that is 3.14. The important thing you need to consider while creating the module is you should give meaningful module name that reflect their purpose. Next, we will discuss about packages. A package is a collection of multiple modules grouped together to organize the code better. A package is basically a folder containing several modules and a special file called init.py file. You can create a package by following these steps. First, you need to create a folder called my package, or you can use other names also. Inside the package, create an empty file named init.py. This file indicates that the my package folder is a Python package. Place your modules inside the package. Here module1.py and module.py is the modules. To use these packages, you can create a separate Python file in the same directory as the my package folder. Now let's take a look at this my package example. You can see in this image we have created init.py file, module 1 and module 2, and another file to use these packages. In the module 1, we have created the function greets, which will greet hello and the name which we have imported from the arguments, and welcome to my channel. In the module 2, we are performing addition in one function and multiplication in the other function. In the main.py file, we are importing the previous packages here, and we are providing the arguments and calling the functions which we have assigned in the modules. Finally, we are printing them. In the init.py file, you can leave it empty or you can include package level imports in this. This is the result for executing the package. Before ending the video, let's quickly summarize what we have learned. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more Python programming content like this. See you in the next episode.